Hey everyone, it's Neptorca here, back for another reaction video. ZZZ 2.0 has been out for a little bit now, and I've been enjoying it so far as a person who generally doesn't like ZZZ that much. A lot of the things in the game bother me, but it looked like 2.0 was going to fix a lot of those things. However, it came across some people reacting to another reaction, uh, and I kind of wanted to do my own reaction to it. I've never done one of these before, but I believe Agekk, if that's how you pronounce it, sorry if I messed it up, uh, is a pretty unbiased, or more positive ZZZ streamer, and or content creator, and it seems like she wasn't too happy with it. So I just kind of want to go through it, give my thoughts, and see how it compares to my own. So let's go ahead and get to it.
Hello, welcome in. This is a very impromptu video that I am recording. I honestly don't know if I'm going to post it or not. I mean, clearly, if you guys are seeing it, then I decided to post it. But why am I here to talk to you guys? I just wanted to express, if you guys have seen, or if you guys are watching this video, then you might have seen my previous video, which is my 2.0 first half of the story playthrough, and might have some opinions about it, but either way, for context is I crashed out a little bit. I crashed out a little bit on stream earlier,
Okay.
and also in that video. So
Let's see what
yeah,
happens. Let's see what
I
it
just
was
wanted
about.
to express that I am
I've enjoyed
sorry
it so far.
that my reaction might not have been as exciting and positive as I normally try to be when I do play through stories. But I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. It was my honest
Okay.
reaction. I did not have that much fun playing the first half of Zenless Zone Zero 2.0.
She's
And
probably
yeah, so
about where I
debated
am.
whether or not I should post that reaction at all, the playthrough, because I feel like it's not very good. Because, I had some fun. I had some fun, but nearing the latter half of it, I do think I was starting to have a lot less fun. But I decided that I do owe it to you
That's
guys,
fair.
as my audience who watches me, to be honest about my feelings and to show not just the good parts of, the stories that I play, but also my own personal, feelings whenever I do feel like the story is not as fun. So, yeah, that's why I did post it regardless, even though it probably upset. I'm sure it upset a lot of people, but
I
it's
love
fine.
the
It's
EOS
fine.
pillow on her bed.
And yeah, anyways, I played through the first half of the Zen Stone Zero 2.0 story, and I went into it really excited because I've been super looking forward to Zen Stone Zero.
Now, one thing I gotta say is I'm willing to bet that a lot of people, 2.0 was possibly overhyped. I don't know. I haven't finished the patch yet or the story yet. And then there's, of course, events that come through it. But there was possibly a little bit of overhype in it. Let's see. Let's see what she says. But I was afraid of this. I hope this isn't the case in what she says.
Newest, I guess, soft relaunch. I am a huge fan of Zenless. You guys probably know if you've seen my content, seen my channel, as I really enjoy Zenless Zone Zero. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I was looking forward to 2.0 because it's a massive hype patch. Who wouldn't be
Yeah,
excited? And
that's fair.
yeah, I was looking forward to the story. I think the new map looks really cool. The new
The
characters are
map,
really cool. Jufu.
I gotta say, the map is one of my absolute favorite additions to the game. Like, just having the 3D mold, like moving it around and so forth, being able to see everything. I really like what they did with the map. That's one of my favorite parts of the update. And I think she's gonna talk about the characters here. I love Yi Xuan. I love playing that character. I've had a lot of fun with that character. And she's not as overpowered as people thought she would be. As of right now, people are saying, like, if you're really good at her, like, she can be Miyabi levels. But for probably the majority of the player base level, she's not going to be as plug and play as Miyabi is. So
Fu stole my heart. And Yishuan also has been super amazing.
Fufu is
both in her
hilarious.
lore, backstory from her marketing, and also, in the
She's
main
funny.
story so far. And yeah, the story itself is also pretty
The
interesting.
voice actor
My
who
only
does
gripe
Yishuan is
that
fantastic.
I wish I got to experience more of that in the first half. And I feel like after playing the first half of the story, I spent the past 4 hours, and I feel like I honestly have not progressed, like, at all. At all in the main story, and that is mostly due to the fact that the first half of the story, in my opinion, is just tutorial simulator. You know, they do kind of like they sprinkle in a little.
I don't know about that. Like, there were a lot of things that were tutorial. I think my biggest gripe is that every single like new ether ability that we get from Yishuan is just another variation of pressing R and then pressing F. Like, it's nothing special. It's just like different ways in which we press R and press F. I think that didn't need to be there. It's kind of annoying. But I don't know about it being a tutorial simulator. I do think that they didn't need to give us a tour of the new zone. Like, this is where you can get your coffee. This is where I don't think they needed to do that. And that part to me was frustrating. But really? You thought it was a tutorial simulator? Like, anytime a tutorial comes up, I'm just like, click, 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 done. Like, it literally takes that amount of time, about a second and a half.
Little bit of the lore and setup here and there, and obviously we get to interact with the characters. Like, those parts are fun, those parts were interesting, you know, getting to be introduced to the new cast, the Yunkui Summit, going to the temple and stuff.
Okay.
But they forced us to go through the town, they forced us to talk to a bunch
Okay,
of the new
yeah.
storekeepers.
Agree. The storekeepers and whatnot was stupid. They should have cut that out. I totally agree with that.
The HDD and shit with EOS, not EOS, with the 20. And then they also, you know, taught us a bunch of new battle mechanics, which is fine. I'm fine with the battle mechanics, but I just feel
like okay, so 20 is over there, like, running the shop for us over there. Like, all they had to do was, like, for us to be like, oh, we discover him. Oh my gosh. And, hey, 20, what are you doing here? Would you run the shop for us? Sure. Instead, they made a huge deal about it. Like, we need to call 20 and get him to get a job out there. And, like, there was just a whole bunch of, like, 80% of it was fluff that could have been stripped out. And, you know, maybe it didn't take a huge portion of it. Like, maybe it was like a 3-minute thing that you had to go through. But there's lots of those. When that adds up over time, all of a sudden you have 30 minutes of dead quest line that doesn't need to be in the game. And it just frustrates people.
There was just so much stuff. And then they also made us sit through they made us sit through another tutorial after all of those tutorials with the new game mode, which is an idle game mode for I guess refurbishing the temple, which on its own, the game mode itself is something that I actually would really enjoy. I think I'm gonna have a great time playing that game mode.
Maybe the reason why I don't understand her frustration is because Genshin Impact's side story stuff, or sorry, not side story stuff, but their mini game stuff is so easy to pick up on by yourself that I always skip through all the tutorials in HSR and Genshin Impact and ZZZ. I'm just like, you know, click, 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 click as fast as I can, get through it, and then I'm like, and then I figure it out as I go. And yeah, it may take me a little bit more time, but in the end, it's still faster than reading through the tutorials. I went through that this morning, and honestly, it wasn't that bad.
Later, when I'm not forced to play it and learn about it in the middle of the main story. So yeah, and then after that, they also forced us to do a commission for that temple game mode. That was also really unrelated to the main story. So anyways, my point is,
I mean, it was just a side quest. It's not a huge deal.
I honestly am still feeling a little bit crazy, which is why I decided that once we finished all the tutorial stuff, which we currently have finished.
Something tells me she should have waited, like, she should have waited a day before posting a video. I think once it settles down, you probably will realize it's not as bad as it looks.
Chat told me that we have finished all the tutorial things, and the next part of the story is just going to be mostly plot, okay? So I am really looking forward to that. I decided to cut myself off for the evening and just stop after we finish the tutorial things, and, you know, take a day or two to just rest and be able to, you know, take a break.
You should have done the reaction after you had the rest.
At the moment.
The rest.
And also, yeah, so then I can come back to the story on Monday with a fresh mind. So I am really excited. Like I said, I am still looking forward to the story. I have always been.
I've enjoyed, like,
I cannot wait to do that.
Let's be real. I'm at least from what she said, I'm further along than she is. And actually I felt like I was close to the end of the story. I could be wrong. I have no clue. but I felt like the story was just kind of okay. It's interesting. It does set up maybe a lot that is going to go on in the future, but it's not like HSR 3.3. It's not like Wuwa 2.2. It's not up to those levels, but it's still entertaining. It's not like, uh, man, the part of ZZZ that just had me crash out on my own before I even streamed was the like an introduction, like the beginning quest when I was like chasing down robots for freaking Kaleda's company for Bellabog Industries. Like it just drove me nuts. I was like, this is so dumb. Just get me through this. So it's not like that. It's definitely if I were to compare it to another ZZZ story, it is definitely better than what we've gotten in the past like 2-3 patches. I would say that. I would say, as of right now, I think a good comparison is Bernice's patch. I think that's a good comparison to where the story is so far for me.
On Monday, when I'll be able to actually experience the plot. The plot, and yeah, I understand why the Zenless team probably did this and did all of these extra tutorial things.
I mean, they had to.
Again,
I mean, new people coming into the game are going to be
the new players, and
they're basically, I think, going to be starting from this
coming
region.
back to the game and will not remember a lot of the different mechanics and stuff. So yeah, totally fine. I just think that it was 100% should have been optional. 100% they should.
Well, yes, they need to expand upon their skip button features. Now, to ZZZ's credit, compared to the other games, they first of all actually have a skip button. However, the skip button is usually in places where you they're in places where you don't want to skip that much. Like the of all the content that is given to me in ZZZ, the ones that I would be most interested in listening to and paying attention to have a skip button. But then the areas that don't, like when I'm just talking to someone and there's no voiceovers, I can't skip through that. That's the worst part. And they need to just make the skip button available everywhere. In Wuthering Waves, when I am like doing a side quest for something really stupid, fetching someone's cat or something, there's a skip button there. Whereas in ZZZ and the Hoyo games, they would like gray that out. But for ZZZ, if it's a main story quest, they give me a skip button, and I'm like, usually that's kind of the stuff that I want to keep. And so I found myself wanting to skip through it. Now ZZZ does have a little bit credit over the other Genshin, the other Hoyo games, in the fact that if I want to press spacebar and left mouse click button simultaneously really quickly, I can skip through stuff really quickly. I can't do that in the other games because they have like a half second up to a second to a second and a half delay before you can even do that in the other games. ZZZ, they let you just kind of, cut through it. But she's absolutely right in that they need to just make the skip button more accessible.
And not have made it so that we are forced to do all of these tutorials in the main story. Because, again, I feel like I've done the first half of the main story and learned maybe not nothing. We did learn a bit of stuff, but it's basically next to nothing, okay? They did not teach us too much more that we didn't already kind of
That's true. We knew the coffee.
The Wi-Fi Peninsula.
We knew.
So, yeah.
We knew the video store. We knew all that stuff.
I will not rant about that, but yeah, this is probably a mess of a video. I'm so sorry.
What?
If I did end up posting this, I'm honestly just gonna, I'm not even gonna cut it. I'm just gonna, I'll probably have like 2 cuts and then I'll send it. But
okay.
anyways, if you guys watched till the end of this,
she's like, forget
ranting,
it.
then I appreciate you listening to me when I'm both, being happy and not also not that happy. And again, I still love Zenless. This is not enough to make me hate the game, of course. Okay, I don't think the game is gonna EOS or whatnot, but yeah, I'm gonna take a break. For a few days. For 2 days, I'll be back on Monday, where we're gonna play the rest of the story, the second half of the story, which is in fact going to be most of the story.
Yeah, it is most of the story. I know now that most of it is the story.
Sorry again for being a little bit negative, I guess, in my previous.
Well, I mean,
in my previous video.
That's the only way you improve the game is by like pointing out stuff.
I am sorry that the reaction wasn't, as probably happy for you guys to enjoy as normal. I am sorry about that, but I am not sorry about
You should not
expressing
apologize for that.
my feelings,
You
my
should
honest
not
feelings,
apologize for
and
that.
yeah, I am
But
sorry.
like,
I just can't. I
if
can't.
something is genuinely
I
not
can't lie.
good,
I
you should
can't
not apologize
pretend
for it,
like
because
I
then
enjoy
the
something that I
developers
didn't
don't know
enjoy.
how to
So
fix it.
hopefully you guys
You
can
know,
understand.
ZZZ got to where it is
And I will be
today and
back
got
on
someone like me
Monday with
playing
the second part
because,
of the
you know,
2.0 Zenless story,
we
and
had
hopefully
feedback.
it'll be really lit. I mean, I have
So
heard really good things about the story as a whole. So, you know,
yeah, I think the
I am
story as a whole is pretty good.
excited to thank you guys for yeah, yeah, the entire thing. Actually, everything I talked about. Let me know how you feel about those. Didn't enjoy it
Okay.
normally.
Yeah, it's pretty much the end. So, like, I agree with her, like, at least in the beginning tutorial, like, with, like, here, this is the town, isn't it pretty? You know, here's your store, and so, like, they could have cut that a lot. And I personally, at that point, I was like, man, I'm ready to move on to a different game today, because I'm just, it's not that great. However, the tutorials that happened um, inside of, gosh, why I just drew a massive mind blank, inside of the hollow, sorry, I didn't really think they were that bad. Like, you could quickly go through them. You're like, okay, click, click, press the X button and move on. That wasn't too bad. I would say the tutorial for the building of everything you're doing with the shrine, the temple, was a little bit much, but once again, I personally just clicked through it, so it wasn't a huge problem. So it seems like her issues stem from a very specific problem in Zenless Zone 2.0. A lot of the drama baiters out there were saying that it was like the doom of patch 2.0, like it didn't deliver, it was garbage. Yeah, it's not true. So far the patch has delivered. It's been pretty good so far. I've been happy with it, and this is coming from someone who, out of my list of gotcha games that I play, ZZZ's near the bottom. Like, I enjoy it, but there are better ones that I enjoy. If I have anything negative to say about this patch, it's just the fact that it took me like 130 pulls to get a single copy of Yishwen, and oh man, that's just miserable. But it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. I managed to get Silver Ambient Trigger last time. Now I don't know if I'll get Caesar. We'll just have to see. But overall, Age KK, if that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. You should not apologize for anything. This is how they improve. Don't apologize to fans for your genuine reactions. That's just the way it is, you know? Not everything needs to be positive, or else we wouldn't... I mean, the ZZZ would not be in the state it is today if everything was positive when it launched. Everyone, I believe, knows that. So, ZZZ is in a much better state now. 2.0, I think, is pretty good so far. And I think, actually, I'm going to stand by that. It's about the Bernice level patch. I think that's around where it is, and I really enjoyed Bernice's patch. It's definitely better than the recent ones we've had, in which, honestly, I think the Hugo and Vivian ones were really boring. And same thing with the Astra Yao and Evelyn patches. To me, they weren't enjoyable. So I think this is a huge upgrade from that. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think of, this is the first time I've ever done a reaction like this. Hopefully I didn't yap too long, but, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys can catch me on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. I stream in the mornings, in America, Tom. I stream in the mornings and I play a whole ton of different gotchas. So if you want, come and, hang out. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next one. Neptorca out. See you guys.